into the alpha state.
Breathe in. Now count to 8.
And the mood is fine.
Now that's got you with me.
Drop into the alpha state.
Now we can shine.
Now we can shine.
Breathe in. Now count to 8. Over the mind. Now count to 8. Over the mountain. Over the mountain. Under the flood. Breathe out now. Count to 8. Under the fountain. Under the fountain. Drop into the alpha state. Breathe in. Now count to 8. Project the Buddha of the Basin now. Shanti. Breathe in. Now count to 8.
Hello, Buddha of the Basin here. In our last broadcast, we unmasked the cold, sterile grids of the digital panopticon. Technically the broadcast before last. This digital panopticon is a system engineered to trap human consciousness in a perpetual loop of panic. But the billionaire class didn't create this architecture. They merely built a parasitic synthetic copy of an ancient organic network that has been pushing beneath our feet for eons. Today, we escape their artificial cage. We are stepping off the concrete and wading straight into the fog of the wetlands. Because the ultimate antidote to their system isn't political, it's electrochemical. This is a masterclass in biological sovereign recovery. We are grounding into the negatively charged estuary basin of the Earth, equilibrating the spin of our internal electrons with the planetary heartbeat, and building a neurological fortress from the mud up. You see, the control matrix is entirely unoriginal. It cannot create, can only imitate. The entire global internet, the World Wide Web, we are told, is a monument to human genius, is nothing but a clumsy parasitic duplicate of the morphogenetic fields that already connect us naturally. We were built to be telepathically unified through the living matrix of the Earth, but they built a hardwired digital substitute just so they could stand in the middle, monitor our connections, and tax our thoughts. And this hostile takeover goes down to the absolute molecular level. Look at carbon, the foundational element of organic life. It is flexible, life-sustaining, and forms the core of our DNA, our cells, and the living cypress trees. Carbon is perfectly tuned to the Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. Yet, modern laboratories have manufactured graphene, a cold, two-dimensional synthetic parasite designed to copy carbon. This material is engineered to turn our biological circuits into literal receivers for an artificial electromagnetic grid. They want to rewrite your biology from the inside out. We are literally swimming in a sea of frequencies, and make no mistake, The vast majority of them are actively poisonous. Look at the modern electrical grid. It hums at a continuous 60 hertz cycle, vibrating at a highly disruptive, high frequency beta state that forces the human nervous system into a baseline of perpetual anxiety and hypervigilance. And I don't even want to talk about the weaponized shortwave radiation of 5G arrays and the impending 6G terahertz frequencies. These synthetic currents act like invisible, venomous snakes slithering across our environment. But in the grand design of the swamp, the snakes are exactly what force you to pay attention. They serve a purpose. They demand that you adapt. They compel you to find the anchor. And nature provided the exact anchor in the form of the bald cypress, the tree of Isis. The cypress doesn't fight the shifting, chaotic, unstable muck of the wetlands. It plugs directly into it. Through an underground web of roots and vertical knees, the cypress forms a massive organic grounding grid. It absorbs the chaotic electrical static of atmospheric storms and dissipates it straight into the highly conductive, negatively charged mud below. Look at the chemical code of your body. We are taught that life is just hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, the primary organic blocks. But without a conductor, those blocks are blind to the universe. Enter iron, the crucial fifth element. Iron acts as a magnetic driver that locks our biology into real time coherence with the cosmos. Deep within the cells of birds, bees, butterflies, and the human brain itself, nature synthesizes a pristine universal memory molecule, magnetite. Magnetite is our organic hard drive. It's what allows a migratory monarch butterfly to navigate thousands of miles across a continent to a single tree. It's not a mechanical GPS. It is a quantum receptor reading the Earth's magnetic lines of force. You think this magnetic tracking is just limited to butterflies? Look at the pasture right outside your window. Scientists use satellite imagery to analyze thousands of cattle grazing across the globe and found a mathematical anomaly hidden in plain sight. Left to their own devices, cows instinctively align their bodies along a strict north-south axis. They are using the magnetite in their brains to naturally equilibrate their bodies with the Earth's magnetic lines of force. But when you put those same cattle underneath high voltage power lines, their internal compass shatters. They spin out of alignment, disoriented by a synthetic 60 hertz frequency. Humanity has been placed underneath the exact same artificial power line grid. We've been insulated, detached, and spun out of alignment until we became compliant minions. But when you sink your circuits into the estuary basin, you clear the line. Your body undergoes an immediate mathematical recalibration, stacking your brainwaves like a living tree rising out of the bayou. At the very bottom, anchored deep within the negatively charged muck, sits the theta wave state, operating between 4 and 8 hertz. This is the realm of deep meditation and rapid cellular healing. This is the Buddha of the Basin. While the world rages above, the consciousness anchored at the theta level remains entirely unshakable, rooted in the ancient maternal magic of Cypress Isis. As we rise up the trunk of the tree, energy flows into the alpha wave state, the 8 to 12 hertz estuary flow. This is where the chaotic, high speed river of daily life meets the deep silent ocean of your inner power. In the alpha state, the brain is relaxed, highly creative, and perfectly synchronized with the planet's Schumann resonance. The anxiety of the 60 hertz grid dissolves. Rising further into the canopy, we reach the beta wave state, the 12 to 30 hertz frequency of active focus and sharp execution. In the old matrix, beta was weaponized against you. But here, stacked securely on top of your alpha flow and your theta roots, beta is transformed into a clean, unshakable cognitive tool. And lastly, sticking out far above the highest leaves of the cypress trees, piercing straight through the atmosphere into the cosmic sky, we ignite the gamma wave state. Operating at 30 Hz and above, gamma is the frequency of absolute epiphany and hyper-binding consciousness. It is the lightning rod at the top of the tree. Because your roots are anchored in the negative charge of the basin below, your mind can safely process the highest cosmic frequencies of inspiration without short-circuiting. They want you ungrounded, anxious, and easily controlled. But when you learn to equilibrate with the earth, you realize the prison planet is an illusion. Step into the basin, ground your circuits, and claim your sovereignty. Now, for a little fact check on the 60 Hz grid in human biology, the standard alternating current frequency used in North American power transmission operates at 60 Hz. Extensive environmental health studies indicate that exposure to anthropogenic, extremely low frequency electromagnetic fields can induce cell stress and affect neuroendocrine functions, frequently keeping individuals in a state of autonomic hypervigilance. Magnetoreception and cattle alignment. The landmark study documenting bovine alignment was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences by Big Al et al. 2008, titled, quote, Magnetic Alignment in Grazing and Resting Cattle in Deer. The study utilized global satellite imagery to confirm cattle align along geomagnetic lines, an orientation that completely disrupts when they're positioned near high voltage overhead power lines. Biogenic magnetite in the human brain. The presence of millions of ferromagnetic magnetite particles per gram in the human brain, specifically within the cerebral cortex and cerebellum, was first discovered by Dr. Joseph Kirschvink in 1992. These crystals act as natural magnetic dipoles, providing a physical mechanism for biological magnetoreception. The Global Consciousness Project. Initiated out of Princeton University, this international network utilizes quantum noise-based random number generators to track deviation from mathematical randomness during high-impact global events. Their peer-reviewed data repositories note a highly statistical, anomalous collapse of data randomness beginning several hours prior to the physical plane impacts on September 11, 2001. So we are becoming one. This is what the law of one raw material talks about. We are becoming a social memory complex where we all get the benefit of each other's lived experiences. We all can share in these memories. As we become one, we become less physical and more like light. And at this fourth state, this fourth density, this graduation point for us and for the planet, the distance between the particles shrinks, and the increase in the spin of the particles correlates with the increase in the planet's basic Schumann resonance or pulse. And we are in the thick of this increase, and it's a mixed harvest, with some being harvested negative, some being harvested positive to fourth density, and others having to repeat the course or go to a different third density planet. This was the law of one material, but of course, if you want to criticize the law of one, this was all supposed to happen around 2012, 2011. And of course, I was a 2012er. Now you have the Edgar Cayce material, in which Russia plays a role in bringing Earth to a positive timeline, something like a new Atlantis around 2038. That's when things pivot towards the good. Certainly, we're at the end of this Platonic year, a great procession of equinoxes that did sort of end around 2012, and we are going into a golden age. It's unclear to what extent this harvest is going to be a traumatic, chaotic event, or is it just the last remnant of eschatology that we need to let go of, sort of like thinking about Christ returning, or thinking about the destruction of Damascus as Emmanuel descends to defeat the Antichrist, or thinking of Prince William becoming this Antichrist one world king. Because I'm Buddha said, do not get attached. The root of our suffering is our attachment. And yet I'm very attached to my eschatology. I'm attached to Charles giving way to William, William the son of Diana being a sort of Christ king figure, a false Christ king, with Trump and Israel sort of setting the stage as for this one world government that's and this new world order that's long on new and short on order. But I digress. The point of this is Cypress ISIS. The idea, whether you're physically grounding yourself on the charging pad or you're outside, you're always trying to discharge the electricity. You don't want to build up in your brain. You want to allow the cerebrospinal fluid to come back down the front body. You want to allow the vagus nerve to send the signal to your abdomen that you're secure. You want to breathe in through your left nostril from time to time. So the insular cortex, or the insula, as it's also known, can begin to deliver a signal that you're secure and comfortable, so you can get that parasympathetic feedback mechanism and get your dopamine and oxytocin as you begin to rest and digest. And then breathing through your right nostril is sort of a sympathetic nervous left hemisphere activation of the executive center that tells you it's time to act. So that the left nostril becomes the brake, so to speak, for the Merkaba, or light spirit body, and the right nostril becomes the gas. But either way, whatever nostril you're breathing through, taking active conscious control of your breathing is the name of the game. That's how you keep your brain from shifting into that default mode network, which is your ego, which is an illusion, but through your linguistic auto phonological loop or working memory circuit, it's able to speak to you or think these thoughts, worry these worries, and lead you down the road of negative thinking, anxiety, or depression. Because ultimately you are cycling this chi energy, you are cycling electricity and discharging it, grounding it, and you are sort of neuromodulating cerebral spinal fluid, cerebral blood, and oxygen. And chi and ki and prana were all conceived along with pneuma in connection with air. This vital force is analogous to air and electricity. The spirit is not exactly electricity, nor is it exactly air, but ruah means the breath, the spirit. Just like Christos is not exactly an anointing oil of the cerebral spinal fluid, but it does imply anointing. And the anointing on the inside is the cerebral spinal fluid, this ionized current that nourishes the third and fourth ventricles of the brain. And magnetite is distributed also via the hemoglobin, not to mention the giant iron oxide chakras along the spine. And the magnetite is deposited all throughout your brain, throughout your mind. These seals are magnetite seals along the spine, these chakras, these ferrous-ferric seals. And this ferrous-ferric sort of magnetite and hemoglobin is why you have the yin and the yang currents of Qigong. But the basic truth to Qigong is that there's a water wheel of Qi, that you use the will and the right nostril breath to bring the Qi from the Dantian Basin and get to vibrate mechanically the sacrum bone, so the sacrum bone can get that piezoelectric charge, and that can go and up the spine to eventually signal the piezoelectric crystals of the pineal gland. And you touch your tongue so it's the roof of your mouth, because you have your tongue, your heart, and your perineum, believe it or not, all kind of made from the same core tissue. To connect them in a circuit, you didn't get the feeling. Then you have the pituitary to gut axis, so the gut brain axis that comes online. This is the Tao, right? At this point, the way is open, the gateway to intelligent infinity, and you begin to get the water wheel of Qi. How it works is still somewhat of a mystery to me. That's the whole reason for this podcast, is to continue to practice and to explore the meditation that enables this alpha state to generate the gateless gate. Om Shanti Om.
Jack, get back, let it go. I'm off the attack. I said, please, Louise, would you take me home? I'm on my knees. I said, please, trees, I'm sweating here, I need some breeze. I said, Jack, skip back, let it go, I'm off the attack. I know my ISIS will come on back and take me home to be the Buddha of the Basin, sitting there upon my throne, sitting on my Cypress ISIS, peaceful beside the bayou breeze. Just be the Buddha of the Basin, find the alpha state and find your peace. I'm hanging here, I need some peace. I said, Jack, just skip back. Here we go, I'm off the attack. I said, please, Louise, let it go. I'm on my knees, waiting for my Cypress ISIS to take me to the estuary, to the alpha state basin, 'cause that's where she says I should be, sitting on my Cypress ISIS in the shade under the live oak tree, sitting on my Cypress ISIS. Yeah, she rocked me on a cypress knee.